Let's be honest, we've all been there with generative AI. One minute, it feels like you're talking to a genius, and the next, it's completely missed the mark. So what's the difference? Well, that almost always comes down to the prompt. In this explainer, we're going to break down how to stop guessing and start writing prompts that actually get you what you want. This isn't some kind of dark art, it's a skill. And by the end of this, you'll have the tools you need to really master it.
Yeah, this probably sounds super familiar, right? One moment, the AI gives you this brilliant, incredibly helpful response. And the next, the result is, well, pretty useless. That huge gap between a great answer and a terrible one almost always comes down to one single thing: the quality of the prompt you gave it.
So what even is prompting? At its heart, it's really just giving instructions. But the secret sauce is in the specificity. Think of it this way. It's the difference between a vague chat with someone versus giving a crystal clear, detailed brief to a new teammate. One gets you a fuzzy, kinda sorta answer. The other gets the job done right. To really see why this is such a big deal, let's dive into a real-world story. This is one of those perfect aha moments where you see exactly how a well-crafted prompt can turn a massive headache into a task that's suddenly surprisingly easy.
Okay, so check out this scenario from Timothy over at Google. He needed to schedule a meeting. Simple, right? But the replies were a total mess. People were responding in every possible way you can imagine. I can do Tuesday after 3, mornings are a no-go for me, what about Thursday at lunch? It just turned into this frustrating, manual puzzle of trying to piece it all together.
And here's where the magic happens. Instead of wasting his time trying to sort through it all himself, he just dumped all that messy, unstructured text into a Gen AI tool with one clear prompt. And the result? A perfectly organized table in just a couple of minutes. That is the kind of power we're learning how to tap into. All right, so how do we get results like that consistently? You need a system. The first one we're going to look at is Google's TCRI framework. Think of it as your foundational, step-by-step playbook for building prompts that work every single time. TCRI, it stands for task, context, references, evaluate, and iterate. But really, it's more than just a checklist. It's a repeatable method. You always start with the task. What do you want the AI to do? Then you add context, the crucial background details it needs to understand. Then you provide references, a few good examples to guide it. And finally, you evaluate the output and iterate on your prompt, refining it until the result is absolutely perfect.
And hey, if you can't remember all the steps, no worries. Just remember this little phrase: thoughtfully create really excellent inputs. It's so true. The quality of what you put in is directly tied to the quality of what you're going to get out.
Let's actually see this in action. We'll build a prompt together step by step. So we'll start with just the task. If we ask it to generate 5 ideas for a sneaker line, the prompt is, okay, I guess, but it's way too broad. We're just going to get really generic, boring ideas.
Now, watch what happens when we add a little bit of context. Just by adding that one little phrase for athletes doing cross-training, we've completely changed the game. We focus the AI, and now the ideas it spits out are going to be so much more specific, more tailored, and way more useful.
And to take it to the next level, we add references. This is actually a pro technique called few-shot prompting. You're not just telling the AI what you want, you're showing it what you like. By giving it a couple of real-world examples, you're guiding its style and creativity. It's a huge step up.
Now for the last 2 steps, evaluate and iterate, which are honestly where the real magic happens. It's a constant loop, right? You get a response, you look at it, you figure out what's missing, and then you tweak your prompt to get even closer to your goal. The pros have a little mantra for this: ABI, or always be iterating. You got to see this as a conversation, not just a one-and-done command. The big idea with TCRI is that it gives you a solid structure, a process you can repeat to get great results. Okay, so TCRE is an amazing process. But for more creative or really complex tasks, you might want a different way of thinking. So let's look at another framework called CREATE, which is kind of like filling out a creative brief for the AI. This framework gives you a 6-part checklist to run through: character, request, examples, adjustments, type of output, and extras. So instead of a step-by-step process, this is more like a comprehensive briefing that makes sure you've given the AI every single piece of information it needs to knock a creative task out of the park.
Now this character element, this is so powerful. I love this one. Instead of just asking for a recipe, you tell the AI who it is. I mean, look at this example. By setting this specific persona, you're tapping into a certain style, a particular vocabulary, and a whole level of expertise. You're not just getting a recipe, you're getting a recipe from a world-class Michelin star chef.
And I just love this idea of extras. They're like the finishing touch, the sprinkles on the cupcake. They're these small but mighty phrases you can drop into your prompt that can make a huge difference in the output. So let's look at a few of those pro-level ones right now.
Okay, now that we have our frameworks, let's get into some really specific, really powerful phrases that you can start using immediately. These are the kinds of techniques that really separate the beginners from the pros.
First up, ignore everything before this prompt. So these tools have memory, which is usually great, but sometimes your previous questions can bleed into your new request and just confuse things. This command is like hitting a reset button. It gives the AI a totally clean slate so it only focuses on your brand new instructions.
This next one is an absolute game changer, especially when you're not 100% sure what details you need to include. By telling the AI to ask me questions before you answer, you're turning it from just a tool into a collaborator. It'll actually help you figure out what information it's missing to give you the best possible answer. It's awesome.
I use this one all the time. Adding something like explain your thinking or explain your reasoning step by step basically pulls back the curtain on the AI's process. It helps you understand why it gave you a certain answer, which is so important for being able to evaluate its logic and actually trust the output.
Now for a more advanced concept, prompt chaining. The idea here is, instead of writing one single giant, super complicated prompt, you guide the AI through a task with a series of smaller, connected prompts. Each response becomes the input for the next step. So you might start with, brainstorm 5 blog post titles, and then follow up with, great, now write an outline for title number 3. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, one piece at a time.
And finally, the most advanced technique we'll cover, tree of thought prompting. This is what you pull out for those really complex, really abstract problems where there isn't one obvious right answer. You ask the AI to explore multiple different paths of reasoning all at the same time, like the branches of a tree, and then evaluate each of those paths to find the best overall solution. It's incredibly powerful for solving tricky problems.
The most important thing to walk away with is that prompting is a skill you develop with practice. It really is more of an art than an exact science. We've gone over 2 really solid frameworks and a handful of pro-level techniques, and that is everything you need to get off to a fantastic start.
The best way to learn any of this is just by doing it. You have the tools, you've got the techniques, so the only question left is, what problem are you going to solve or what amazing thing you're going to create first? Go on, get started.